So here's an example of a master worship set that has a lot going on. This is the one, over the last 2 years, we've built this up at Brushy Creek. You can see all these different stems that have been pulled into here for all these different songs that are listed. And I know it looks very confusing and there's a lot going on here that I don't have time to go into or explain, but basically I've got all the instruments here in this multi-track column. It's where most of these stems are, and you can see under this multi-grouping I've got drums, percussion, percussion 2, percussion 3, audio pads 1 and 2, low pad, because sometimes we've got pads at different pitch levels, strings 1, strings 2, piano. So you can just look across and see what all these different instruments are. And there's lots of stuff going on in some of the songs, and some of them it's not that there's so much going on, there's just that I need a slot for everything that might be in any of the songs. So one song might have been produced where it had a pad 1 and a pad 2, and another song might have only had a pad 1 in it. So in that song one of the pads will be missing, like these two songs here for instance. They have one set of pads here, but they don't have a set of pads here, because when we bought this song, whatever it is, Future Past, I guess, it only had one pad in it, so that's why there's some holes going across the stems here. These are all groups, so I can close those together as a group. So all of that multi-track stuff is now here on this one track, and I can unfold it if you wanted to look and see how that's done. And later on I'll show you how to do that kind of grouping. Makes things a little easier to see. I've got all my clicks and all my cues running down these two tracks, and the cues are separated into two tracks. We're really only using one set of tracks in the cue track. That's the one that go to the band headphones, but there is another slot for director cue tracks, like if you're doing a musical or something and you want to send out two separate sets of cues, and say one of them's going to your band and the other one's going to like your lighting director or the people running Pro Presenter. Let's say you're telling them which slide to push or something like that, or stage manager. You can put stage management stuff in there. So it sort of digital stage manager. If you're running like a musical, it could be saying to the band, play the chorus next, but it can be saying to the stage manager, send the children's choir out onto the stage or something like that. And then our clicks are all running here, and I've got a whole list for audio clicks, and then a whole list for MIDI clicks, and then a couple extra MIDI tracks that I'm doing some other things with that are kind of unimportant for right now, and then an extra MIDI track that's running auto changes. This is changing songs automatically, song 1, song 2. This is all very complicated, and what I wanted to point out is that you can make this very complicated, or you can make it very simple. But what makes it very easy for you once you've done the complicated work on the front end is that when it's time to go actually do your worship set, you can just pull your songs up. I've got all the songs that we might ever do on this list here, because I've already pulled them into the computer. And I'm just going to pull that song up to the top. See, I've got a worship set listed here where it says start set, welcome. So we'll start set, we'll do a song. We'll have a welcome and prayer, and then we'll do a couple more songs, and we'll have offertory. There's our offertory song, and then the sermon will go after that, and then we'll have invitation, and it's this song. So when it's time to put together a set for the next week, let's say, I'll just pull these songs out of the set and then put whatever we're doing the next week. Let's say we're doing It Is Well at the beginning. Let's say we're doing Future Past for offertory. Let's say we're doing Even So Come after the welcome. And let's say we're doing Come Thou Fount for invitation. So now I've got my entire worship set all pulled together in this one place. So it's very easy to see what I'm doing. I didn't have to spend any time messing around with all those tracks. They're already ready to go. I've already organized it all. So just by pulling the scene name up, I've pulled it up, and as I go from song to song within the set, the computer changes the tempo, it changes, the songs are all in different keys. It does all that stuff automatically, so I don't have to really think about it once we're actually running the worship set. I can just go click next song, click next song, click next song. So very often in a worship set, you'll see a drummer or something with this computer up to this. You'll see Ableton on the screen, or there's a keyboard player, and you see they've got Ableton up on the screen, and this is what they're doing. They're using that computer to run tracks for the band, and sometimes they're also using it to create sounds, like a keyboard player. Sometimes we'll have a separate keyboard or a separate computer off to one side, and they're just using that to run their software instruments. Maybe they're just using a MIDI controller and running it into their computer to create whatever sounds that they're using. And you can also do that from within Ableton. You can both run tracks with this and hook your computer up to it. So you don't have to have a separate computer to do that with. But anyway, that's the way we do it at Brushy Creek, and we're not going to build anything this complicated, but I just wanted to show that to you.